Do you know what it means when someone is sectioned?
No,
Do you know anyone who has been sectioned?
my brother George.
How do you feel having someone in the family with mental health issues?
I don't really know. It's kind of scary.
What was it like from a parent's point of view to see your son go into an institution?
Very, very sad, but also hopeful that he would get the help that he needed. But unfortunately, he wasn't in there for very long, and didn't really engage with the process.
How does having your son admitted affect you?
It makes me feel very, very sad. I'm disappointed in myself that I can't help him. And I hope that, at some point in the future, he realises that he has a problem and gets and seeks the required help.
In the community, are the families getting enough support?
I think in a community it all depends on the age and the mental health problem that people have. On the average, I would say people who are younger and people who are older get more support than people who are in their 20s to their 40s or 50s.
Absolutely not. It would depend actually on what level of care that you come under. So if you come under people who have learning difficulties, their families do get quite a bit of support, although it's quite hard to get that. If you're somebody with mental health, your family gets very, very little support, as does the person with mental health. And if you're an older person, they get no support whatsoever. Their families, they just have to watch their person wither away with no support whatsoever.
Are there opportunities for respite care?
Again, I think it's to do with age. If you have a child with mental health problems, you do get family respite. And if you've got older people with mental health problems, they can be put in respite for maybe a week or two a year. And I think that's about it for care in a community with them.
Again, it would depend on who you come under. If you have learning difficulties, when I worked in learning difficulties care, their respite care was quite sufficient. It gave the families who lived with their loved ones enough time to have a break. I don't receive a lot of respite care within my care home that's funded by any local authorities. Any respite care I receive would usually be privately funded by their families. I don't really know much about the mental health respite care, but if you go by what sort of the units that I know of out there, there's not many respite care for mental health people.
Is there enough support for individuals to live independently?
There is homes what are for people with mental health, but again, they're so diverse. The ages range from 16 to 75, 80, and so you don't get a continuance of specialist care.
Again, it would come under which category you come under. When I worked with people with learning difficulties, some of them would have care packages that extended 24 hours a day for one-to-one support. Working in an old people's home, I have 24-hour care for 21 people from about 4 carers. So unfortunately, the ratio is never as high as what it is for people with learning difficulties. And the people that I know of who receive support for their mental health receive very, very little support in comparison to those that have learning difficulties.
In your opinion, is there enough support or services for adults living with mental health issues?
No, I don't think there is. I think that the younger you are, the more help there is out there. If you're, as I say, if you're in between 30 to 70, there's not an awful lot of places that you can actually go and get help.
Absolutely not. There's definitely not enough services out there. As a mother of 2 people who have suffered with their mental health, it's always been a struggle to get them the right help and support that they need. And I've only been successful in some parts of it because of the job that I do. I know the people to go to. I know that those who shout loudest get what they need. But if you're not that type of person, it's very rare you get any help or support at all.
How does school support children with mental health?
It's quite difficult actually for schools to support children with mental health. Children with diagnoses such as like ADHD and autism, ASD, that kind of thing, they have specialist teachers to support them with all of their needs so that they can access the curriculum and get support for parents and things. Children with mental health issues don't have that level of support. A lot of schools are training teaching staff to be mental health ambassadors, but it's not a specialism in the same kind of way.
How do you guide them through and support parents?
We can do referrals to places like the NHS have a CAMHS organisation, which is Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service, but they have hugely long waiting lists. We can wait up to 7 to 8 weeks for just an assessment, and then support from them. You could wait for another 18 months to 2 years. So waiting lists are huge. Parents can seek private support, which some of ours do, but a lot of people can't afford that.
Do you think the system supports children enough?
I don't. No, I don't think the system does support children enough. There are so many levels of mental health, from anxiety, depression. COVID-19 has played a huge part in children's mental health, and there just aren't the support services and places to go for help out there.
What should the system do to benefit a child's welfare?
I think, just as everything, more money needs to be put into the system and more recognition for children's mental health, and more support services and more specialist teachers, and more training needs to be available.